Sam Chen opened his eyes and immediately knew something was very wrong. The ceiling above him glowed with soft blue light, and it was moving. The smooth surface rippled like water, but it stayed solid above his head. This was not his small quarters on the research station Frontier's edge. This was definitely not his narrow metal bunk with its thin mattress and recycled air that always smelled like machine oil. Sam sat up slowly, his head spinning. The room around him was enormous and beautiful in a way that made his breath catch. Walls curved upward like the inside of a giant seashell, made from what looked like living coral in shades of deep blue and purple. Soft light pulsed through the organic walls in gentle waves, like a heartbeat made of light. He looked down at himself and felt his confusion deepen. Instead of his usual research clothes, he wore robes made from fabric that seemed to shift color when he moved. The material felt smooth and warm against his skin, and it fit him perfectly even though he had never seen these clothes before in his life. "Where am I?" Sam whispered to himself. His voice echoed strangely in the curved space. The last thing he remembered was falling asleep at his desk in the research lab. He had been studying crystal samples from the planet Viridian for 16 hours straight, trying to understand their unique molecular structure. Dr. Vale had told him to get some rest, and he had stumbled to his quarters, collapsed on his bunk, and passed out immediately. Now he was here, wherever here was. A sound made him turn toward the far end of the chamber. Part of the coral wall was opening, folding back like flower petals to create a doorway. Sam's heart began to beat faster as he watched a figure step through the opening. The being was clearly not human, but she was beautiful in a way that made Sam forget to breathe. She stood nearly 8 feet tall, with skin that had a subtle blue tint and seemed to glow softly from within. Her hair flowed like liquid silver down to her waist, and her eyes were large and completely black, like deep pools reflecting starlight. She wore a crown made of living coral that pulsed with the same blue light as the walls. The crown seemed to grow directly from her head, its branches reaching upward and glowing brighter when she moved. Her robes were similar to Sam's but far more elaborate, with patterns that shifted and changed as she walked. "My bonded mate," she said, and her voice was like music played on instruments Sam had never heard. "You have awakened. I was beginning to worry about the effects of the joining ceremony on your human physiology." Sam stared at her, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. "Bonded mate," he managed to say. "Joining ceremony? I'm sorry, but I think there's been some kind of mistake." The tall being tilted her head, studying him with those black eyes. "You are Sam Chen of the Human Research Station, are you not? The one whose life patterns were presented to our council as a formal proposal of union?" "My life patterns?" Sam felt like he was trying to solve a puzzle with half the pieces missing. "I'm Sam Chen, yes, but I never proposed anything to anyone. I was just studying your crystal formations for our research project." The being moved closer, and Sam could see concern in her alien features. "I am Zara, Queen of the Viridian Coral Empire. According to our records, your research partner Dr. Vale presented your biological data to our council yesterday during the formal exchange ceremony. This data included your genetic markers, your psychological profile, and your compatibility ratings with our species. In our culture, such a presentation is a clear proposal of marriage bond." Sam felt the room spin around him. Dr. Vale did what? Queen Zara gestured with one long, graceful hand, and part of the coral wall began to glow brighter. Images appeared in the living surface like a three-dimensional recording. Sam watched in growing horror as he saw Dr. Vale standing before a group of tall blue beings, proudly displaying holographic charts of Sam's DNA structure and brain scans. "Your research partner was very thorough," Queen Zara said. "She provided extensive data about your health, your intelligence, your emotional stability, and your genetic compatibility with our reproductive systems. Our council was quite impressed." "But that was just for the research project," Sam said weakly. "We were supposed to share biological data so your scientists could understand how humans might be affected by your planet's environment. It was meant to keep me safe during the field studies." Queen Zara's expression grew more concerned. I fear there has been a significant cultural misunderstanding. In Viridian society, when someone presents another's biological essence to the royal council with such detail and care, it is considered a formal request for that person to become the consort of the ruling family. Sam sank back onto what he now realized was an elaborate bed made from the same living coral as the walls. So Dr. Vale accidentally proposed marriage between us. Not proposed, Queen Zara said gently. Requested and completed. Once your genetic markers were presented, I absorbed them into my crown. She touched the glowing coral formation on her head. This created the biological bond between us. In the eyes of my people and our laws, we are now married. Sam stared at the Queen, trying to process this information. But I was asleep. I never agreed to any of this. Your research partner assured our council that you had given your full consent and were eager to proceed. She said that sleeping during the ceremony was a human custom, meant to show trust and peace. Sam buried his face in his hands. Dr. Vale knows nothing about human marriage customs. She was probably just trying to be helpful and got everything completely wrong. Queen Zara moved closer and sat carefully on the edge of the coral bed. Her presence was warm and calming, like sitting near a gentle fire. I begin to understand that this situation is not what you expected. However, I must tell you that we now face a serious problem. Sam looked up at her. More serious than accidentally getting married to an alien queen. For the first time, Queen Zara's expression showed something like fear. Much more serious. 3 of the most powerful empires in this sector of the galaxy have been demanding that I choose one of their princes as my consort. They have been pressuring my people for months, threatening war if I do not accept their proposals. And now they have learned of our union. They are calling it an insult to their honor that I would bond with what they consider a primitive species. The Krawlite Empire, the Nexus Federation, and the Shadowmere Dominion have all sent messages demanding that I dissolve this marriage immediately and choose one of their princes instead. Sam felt a cold weight settling in his stomach. What happens if you don't? Queen Zara's glow dimmed slightly. They have threatened to destroy my world and enslave my people. Each empire commands fleets of warships that could turn our beautiful coral cities to dust. My own military, while strong, cannot stand against all 3 empires working together. Sam stood up and began to pace around the chamber, his mind racing. So because Dr. Vale accidentally married me to you, your entire civilization is now in danger. The marriage itself is not the problem, Queen Zara said. The problem is that these empires see any rejection of their advances as an act of war. They care nothing for my people's welfare or our ancient traditions. They only want control of our planet's unique resources and our strategic location in this part of the galaxy. Sam stopped pacing and looked at the Queen. What resources? What's so special about your world that 3 empires would fight over it? Queen Zara gestured again, and the coral wall displayed new images. Sam saw vast underwater cities made of living coral, forests of crystal trees that sang in the wind, and oceans filled with creatures that glowed like swimming stars. Our coral can grow into any shape needed and repair itself when damaged, Queen Zara explained. It is the perfect building material for space stations and ships. Our crystals can store and transmit energy more efficiently than any known technology. And our people have natural abilities that allow us to communicate across vast distances without machines. So you're incredibly valuable allies, and everyone wants to control you. Exactly. But there is another problem, one that makes this situation even more desperate. Queen Zara's voice became very quiet. My people are facing extinction. Sam sat back down, giving her his full attention. Extinction? How? Our species has suffered from what your scientists would call a genetic bottleneck. Centuries ago, a plague wiped out most of our population. Those who survived were all closely related, and over time, our genetic diversity has become dangerously limited. Our birth rates have been dropping for generations, and our children are often born with serious health problems. Queen Zara touched her crown again, and the coral pulsed brighter. Our scientists have been searching desperately for a solution. We need genetic material from a compatible species to strengthen our bloodline and save our people from extinction. Sam felt pieces of the puzzle clicking together in his mind. And my DNA was compatible. More than compatible. Your genetic structure is remarkably similar to ours in key areas, while being different enough to add the diversity we need. When your data was presented to our council, our scientists were amazed. They said that a union between us could produce offspring that would be stronger and healthier than any Viridian born in the last 1,000 years. Sam rubbed his temples, feeling overwhelmed. So not only did Dr. Vale accidentally start a galactic war, but she also accidentally solved your species' reproduction crisis. In a sense, yes. But now we have no time to explore these possibilities. The three empires have given me only 5 days to dissolve the marriage and choose one of their princes. They are already moving their fleets into position around our system. Sam stood up and walked to one of the curved windows. Outside, he could see a breathtaking view of the Viridian capital city. Coral towers spiraled up from the ocean floor, connected by graceful bridges that glowed with soft light. Schools of luminescent fish swam between the buildings like living rainbows. It was the most beautiful place Sam had ever seen. What would happen if you did choose one of their princes? He asked. Queen Zara joined him at the window. The prince would become the ruler of my people in all but name. His empire would have access to all our resources and would station military forces here permanently. My people would become subjects of whichever empire I chose, and the other two empires would likely attack anyway, feeling that their honor had been insulted. So no matter what you choose, your people suffer. Yes. Unless we can find another solution. Sam turned to look at the queen. Despite her alien appearance, he could see the weight of responsibility and fear in her expression. She was trying to save her people, just as any human leader would in her situation. What about the marriage? Sam asked. Is there any way to undo it safely? Queen Zara touched her crown again. The biological bond can be dissolved, but it takes time and special procedures. The genetic markers I absorbed from you have already begun integrating with my own DNA. To remove them suddenly could cause serious damage to my health, possibly death. How long would it take to do it safely? Several months, perhaps longer. We do not have that much time. Sam looked back out at the beautiful city, his mind working through the problem. 3 alien empires wanted to enslave these people. The Viridians needed genetic diversity to survive as a species. And somehow, a simple research mission had put him right in the middle of it all. Queen Zara, he said slowly, what exactly would happen if I stayed married to you? The queen looked surprised. You would become my consort and help rule the Coral Empire. Your genetic material would be used to strengthen our people's bloodline. And you would be declaring that humanity stands with the Viridians against these 3 empires. Would Earth be in danger? Would my people be dragged into this war? Queen Zara considered this carefully. Possibly. If the empires decide that humanity is a threat, they might attack your homeworld. However, Earth is far from here, and these empires are primarily concerned with controlling this region of space. They might decide that the cost of extending the war so far is not worth the risk. Sam nodded slowly. He thought about his life on the research station, cataloging alien minerals and writing reports that few people would ever read. He thought about Earth, where he had no family left and few close friends. Then he looked at Queen Zara and her beautiful, doomed world. What kind of person would I be if I let billions of innocent people die because I was too scared to take a risk? He said quietly. Queen Zara's eyes widened. You cannot be considering staying. You know nothing about our world or our ways. You would be giving up everything you know. Sam smiled for the first time since waking up in the strange chamber. Actually, I'm a xenobiologist. Learning about alien worlds and cultures is exactly what I've always wanted to do. I just never imagined I'd get to do it as part of a royal family. The danger is very real, Queen Zara warned. These empires will not give up easily. They will try everything they can to force us to submit. Then I guess we'll have to be smarter than they are, Sam said. I may not know much about galactic politics, but I know a few things about being human that might surprise them. Queen Zara studied his face carefully. You are truly willing to honor this accidental marriage bond? To stand with my people against forces that could destroy us all? Sam took a deep breath and looked out at the Coral City one more time. Somewhere out there, alien fleets were preparing for war. 3 empires thought they could bully a peaceful species into submission. And somehow, a sleepy human scientist had become the key to stopping them. Queen Zara, he said, turning to face her, I think it's time I learned what it really means to be married to an alien queen. Sam spent the next morning learning everything he could about the 3 empires that threatened Queen Zara's people. He sat in the Royal Archive, a vast chamber where information flowed through the coral walls like living light, while Zara's advisors shared their knowledge with him. The Krallite Empire was the largest of the 3, commanding over 200 star systems. Their prince, Thaxon the Destroyer, had earned his name by crushing 17 different species into slavery. The Krallites believed that strength came only through conquest and domination. The Nexus Federation was smaller but more technologically advanced. Prince Voltic controlled massive automated fleets and had never lost a battle. The Federation saw other species as either useful resources to exploit or obstacles to eliminate. The Shadowmere Dominion was the most mysterious of the 3. Prince Noxus commanded forces that could appear and disappear without warning, striking from dimensions that most species could not even detect. The Dominion preferred psychological warfare and terror tactics. Each empire has sent their prince to our system, explained Zara's military advisor, a tall Viridian named Corax. They wait just outside our defensive perimeter with their fleets. Tomorrow, they will demand our final answer. Sam studied the tactical displays showing enemy positions. Hundreds of warships surrounded the Viridian system like hungry predators. Have any of them actually visited your world before? Met your people face to face? Queen Zara shook her head. They consider us beneath such attention. They send only demands and threats. Sam felt an idea beginning to form. What if we invited them down for a formal meeting? All 3 princes, here in the palace. Corax made a sound like grinding coral. That would be incredibly dangerous. Any one of them could capture or kill our queen. Not if we do it right, Sam said. Zara, do your people have any formal traditions about hospitality or guest rights? Queen Zara's eyes brightened with understanding. The sacred laws of welcome. Any being who enters our homes as an invited guest is under our protection, and we are under theirs. To break guest rights would bring shame upon their entire lineage. Do these empires care about honor and tradition? Very much so, Zara replied. Each empire prides itself on following ancient codes of conduct. They may be conquerors, but they consider themselves honorable conquerors. Sam smiled. Then I think I know how we can turn this whole situation around. That afternoon, Sam helped Queen Zara compose formal invitations to all 3 princes. The messages were carefully worded, invoking ancient diplomatic protocols and challenging each prince to prove his worthiness through honorable competition rather than mere threats of force. We invite you to demonstrate why your empire deserves alliance with the Coral Throne, the message read. Let your actions show your true character, that we might choose with wisdom rather than fear. The responses came back quickly. All 3 princes accepted, each clearly believing they could easily intimidate a primitive species and their weak human consort in person. They think this is going to be easy, Sam told Zara as they prepared for the meeting. They're expecting us to just roll over and submit to whichever one seems strongest. Are you certain this plan will work? Zara asked. If even one of them decides to attack. Then we'll deal with that problem when we come to it, Sam said. But I don't think it will happen. These princes didn't get to their positions by taking stupid risks. They'll want to see what we're up to before they do anything drastic. The next morning, 3 shuttles descended to the palace landing platform. Sam watched from a high window as the princes emerged from their ships. Prince Thaxon was massive, nearly 10 feet tall and covered in natural armor that looked like black metal. His eyes glowed red, and when he walked, the coral platform cracked under his weight. He was followed by a squad of equally large warriors carrying weapons that hummed with deadly energy. Prince Voltic appeared to be mostly machine. His body was a sleek combination of metal and synthetic materials, with multiple arms ending in tools and weapons. His head was a featureless dome that scanned everything around it with beams of blue light. His escort was a formation of floating robots that moved in perfect synchronization. Prince Noxus was the strangest of all. He seemed to exist only partially in normal space, flickering in and out of visibility like a living shadow. When he was solid, he appeared as a tall humanoid figure in flowing black robes. Dark energy crackled around his fingers, and the air grew cold wherever he walked. Quite an impressive group, Sam murmured to himself. The 3 princes were brought to the main throne chamber, where Queen Zara waited on her coral throne. Sam stood beside her, trying to look more confident than he felt. The chamber had been prepared according to his instructions, with specific decorations and arrangements that he hoped would serve his plan. "Welcome, honored guests," Queen Zara said, her voice carrying the formal tones of royal ceremony. "You have come to seek alliance with the Coral Empire. We would hear your offers." Prince Thaxon stepped forward first. "Offers? We make no offers to insects. Submit to the Crawlite Empire now, or we will take your world by force and scatter your people among the slave worlds." Prince Voltic's mechanical voice buzzed through speakers in his head. "The Nexus Federation requires only efficiency. Surrender your resources and technology to us, and we will allow your species to continue existing as our workers." Prince Noxus flickered in and out of sight as he spoke. "The Shadowmere Dominion offers you the privilege of serving beings far greater than yourselves. Refuse, and we will teach your people the true meaning of fear." Sam had expected exactly these kinds of responses. He stepped forward, keeping his voice calm and respectful. "Great princes," he said, "surely beings of your stature would prefer to earn alliance through demonstration of virtue rather than mere threats. Any pirate or common criminal can threaten violence. True leaders inspire loyalty through their wisdom and strength." Prince Thaxon growled, "You dare question our strength, human insect?" "Not at all," Sam replied smoothly. "I question whether you have the confidence to prove your strength through actions rather than words." This clearly stung the prince's pride. "What manner of proof do you suggest?" Sam gestured to the walls of the chamber, where images now displayed scenes of the Viridian world. "Our people face many challenges that require solutions. Show us how you would address these problems, and let your methods reveal which empire is most worthy of alliance." Queen Zara caught on to his plan immediately. "Yes, let each prince demonstrate how their empire would benefit our people. Actions speak louder than threats." The 3 princes looked at each other suspiciously, none wanting to appear weak in front of the others. "What challenges?" Prince Voltic asked. "Our coral farms are failing in the southern oceans," Queen Zara explained. "Our people are running short of food. Our trade routes have been disrupted by space pirates. And our young people lack hope for the future because they see no opportunities for growth and advancement." Sam watched the princes carefully as each problem was explained. He could see their minds working, trying to figure out if this was some kind of trap. "Simple problems with simple solutions," Prince Thaxon declared. "Give me control of your military, and I will crush these pirates and take their resources to feed your people. Those who complain about lack of opportunity will be put to useful work in my slave camps." Prince Voltic processed this information with mechanical precision. "Inefficient approach. I will install automated farming systems to triple food production. Pirate routes will be eliminated by calculated strikes from my drone fleets. Population management will be optimized through mandatory work assignments." Prince Noxus flickered more rapidly. "Fear is the greatest motivator. I will make examples of a few thousand of your people to show the others the cost of weakness. Terror will drive them to work harder and complain less. Sam felt sick listening to their solutions, but he kept his expression neutral. Interesting approaches. Queen Zara, perhaps we could show our guests some of our current efforts to address these problems. Over the next several hours, Sam guided the princes on a tour of Viridian society. But instead of just showing them around, he had prepared specific challenges that would reveal the fundamental differences between human and alien empire approaches to problem solving. At the coral farms, Sam had arranged for them to meet with struggling farmers who explained their problems in detail. While the three princes talked about imposing quotas and punishing failure, Sam rolled up his sleeves and worked directly with the farmers to understand their techniques. The coral growth has been slower this season, an elderly farmer named Tidal explained. We think the water temperature has changed, but we don't know why. Sam spent time examining the coral, testing the water, and asking detailed questions about farming techniques. Within an hour, he had identified the real problem. The farmers were using the same growing areas year after year, depleting nutrients in the ocean floor. What if you rotated the farming areas? Sam suggested. Let each section rest for a few seasons while you work other areas. And what if we could find a way to enrich the soil with nutrients from other parts of the ocean? The farmer's eyes lit up with excitement. We never thought of that. Our ancestors always used the same sacred growing grounds. Traditions are important, Sam said, but sometimes new ideas can honor the old ways while making them even better. Prince Thaxan watched this interaction with growing irritation. This is a waste of time. Simply force the coral to grow faster with energy weapons. That would destroy the delicate ecosystem, Sam explained patiently. The coral and the sea life depend on each other. Force one part to change too quickly, and the whole system collapses. At the spaceport, they met with merchants whose trade routes had been disrupted. The three princes immediately began discussing military solutions, hunting down pirates, establishing patrol zones, demanding tribute for protection. Sam took a different approach. He spent time learning about the merchants' actual routes, what they were carrying, and why pirates found them attractive targets. Then he started asking questions that none of the princes had thought to ask. What if the pirates aren't just random criminals? Sam suggested. What if they're people who have been forced into piracy because they have no other way to survive? He worked with the merchants and Queen Zara's advisors to map out where the pirate attacks were happening and cross-referenced this with data about worlds that had been devastated by the three empires' previous conquests. Look at this pattern, Sam showed them. Most of these pirates are coming from worlds that were strip-mined or enslaved by various empires in the last 50 years. They're not attacking your trade routes because they're evil. They're attacking because their own worlds can't support them anymore. So what do you propose? Queen Zara asked. Sam smiled. What if instead of fighting them, we offered them something better? Jobs, trade partnerships, a chance to rebuild their worlds. Turn enemies into allies. Prince Noxus laughed, a sound like ice breaking. Absurd. Pirates are tools of chaos. They understand only violence. Maybe, Sam said. Or maybe they just haven't been offered a better option. The tour continued, and with each stop, the same pattern emerged. The three princes offered solutions based on force, control, and domination. Sam offered solutions based on understanding, cooperation, and addressing root causes rather than just symptoms. By the end of the day, something remarkable had happened. The Viridian people had stopped paying attention to the princes and were gathering around Sam instead. They were excited about his ideas, asking questions, offering their own suggestions for improvements. This human shows wisdom, Tidal the farmer said to his friends. He listens before he speaks. He treats us like partners, not servants, said a young merchant who had been struggling to keep her business alive. That evening, as they returned to the palace, Prince Thaxan was clearly losing patience. Enough of these games. We have shown our power. Choose now, or face the consequences. Queen Zara looked at Sam, who nodded encouragingly. Very well, she said. I have seen enough to make my decision. The three princes straightened, each confident that his display of strength had won the day. I choose, Queen Zara announced, to honor the marriage bond with Sam Chin of Earth. He alone has shown the wisdom and compassion worthy of alliance with the Coral Empire. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Prince Thaxon roared in fury, his hands reaching for his weapons. Prince Voltic's systems began charging up for combat. Prince Noxus flickered rapidly, dark energy crackling around his form. But before any of them could attack, something unexpected happened. Every Viridian in the chamber moved to stand between the princes and their queen. Farmers, merchants, workers, and nobles all formed a protective barrier, their faces showing determination rather than fear. You gave your word as guests in our home, Queen Zara reminded them. To break guest rights now would mark you as oath-breakers before all the galaxy. Prince Voltic's systems paused their charging sequence. This changes nothing. Our fleets still surround your world. Actually, Sam said calmly, I think you'll find that the situation has changed quite a bit. He gestured to the coral walls, which began displaying new images. The princes saw recordings of everything that had happened during their visit. Their threats, their dismissive treatment of the Viridian people, their solutions based only on force and fear. But more importantly, they saw recordings of Sam working with the people, listening to their problems, and offering hope instead of oppression. These recordings are being broadcast across the galaxy right now, Sam explained. Every world that has suffered under Empire rule is seeing exactly how you treat the people you claim to protect. They're also seeing that there's another way to solve problems. Queen Zara smiled. We have sent copies to every free world and resistance movement in this sector. They are very interested in forming alliances with civilizations that prefer cooperation to conquest. Prince Noxus flickered more violently. You think this changes anything? We still have the power to destroy you. You have the power to destroy one world, Sam agreed. But how many worlds are watching right now? How many oppressed peoples are seeing that someone finally stood up to the great empires? How many of your own subjects are wondering why they serve leaders who only know how to threaten and destroy? For the first time since arriving, all three princes looked uncertain. Sam continued, you can destroy the Viridian world if you want. But if you do, you'll prove to the entire galaxy that the empires are exactly what everyone already suspected, bullies who attack anyone who won't submit to them. Every free world will unite against you. Every enslaved world will rebel. Is one planet really worth starting a galactic revolution? The chamber fell silent. Sam could see the princes calculating, trying to determine if the cost was worth the prize. Finally, Prince Voltic spoke. This is not over, human. You have made enemies of forces beyond your comprehension. Maybe, Sam replied. But I've also shown the galaxy that humans don't back down from bullies, no matter how big they are. One by one, the three princes left the chamber. Their fleets remained in position around the Viridian system for several more days, but no attacks came. Eventually, they departed, unwilling to risk the galactic consequences of attacking a world that had become a symbol of resistance to Empire tyranny. Over the following months, something remarkable happened. Worlds that had been isolated and afraid began forming their own alliances based on cooperation rather than conquest. The Viridian model of problem-solving through partnership spread across the galaxy. Trade networks replaced tribute systems. Diplomatic solutions replaced military ones. Sam found himself busier than he had ever imagined. As Prince Consort of the Coral Empire, he helped establish the Galactic Cooperation Council, a federation of free worlds dedicated to mutual aid and peaceful resolution of conflicts. Did you ever imagine your research career would lead to this? Queen Zara asked him one evening as they stood on the palace balcony, watching the coral city glow beneath the alien stars. Sam smiled and took her hand. Her skin was warm and smooth, and he had learned to read the subtle expressions of her beautiful alien features. I wanted to study alien life, he said. I just never thought I'd get to live it. And what do you think of married life with an alien queen? Sam looked out at the thriving city, where humans and Viridians worked together on projects that would have been impossible for either species alone. In the distance, he could see the ships of a dozen different species coming and going from the spaceport, all part of the growing network of peaceful cooperation. I think, Sam said, that sometimes the best adventures really do begin with the most unexpected wake-up calls. Queen Zara laughed, a sound like music played on crystal chimes. Dr. Vale sends her congratulations, by the way. She says she always knew you were destined for something special. Sam shook his head. Dr. Vale still thinks she planned this whole thing. Perhaps she did, in her own way. The universe has a strange sense of humor. As they stood together watching the stars, Sam reflected on how much his life had changed. He had gone to sleep as a lonely research scientist and awakened as the husband of an alien queen, the father of a galactic alliance, and living proof that humans had something special to offer the universe. It wasn't physical strength or advanced technology that made humans special. It was their ability to see beyond immediate problems to long-term solutions, to treat strangers as potential friends rather than automatic enemies, and to believe that cooperation could accomplish more than conquest. Sam Chen had discovered that being human meant being hopeful, even in the face of impossible odds. And sometimes, hope was the most powerful force in the galaxy.